indicators.
Yep.
Flags, if you've got them, like firearms come up in a case or a bag.
Yep.
Yep.
All over that.
Where's your... Sorry. Oh, they got together.
No.
One box. That's it. Targets. I'll fix him up and I'll come back to you.
Yeah, no stress. Just like
You know which one you want.
Yeah, don't get too
Centre fire or rim fire? Centre fire or pick up. That's on your double S double make card.
Yeah, I'm going to give a much like to the crowd. Have you seen this one before?
No, because that's who you belong to.
yeah.
This is
It's sticky.
As an RO, I'm not overly worried about that. This is
very hard
more
to
why I really got that here for something.
straight up.
Yeah, you hit it.
Hey.
You've got a few vacancies still on your list. You've got a few vacancies on your list.
Thank you.
Okay, so you know the drill, you've been here before, as I explained. That's the noisy end, you happy with that?
Yeah.
Bring it up and roll straight from the chicken ball
Hello again. Well, as you saw, the cases are still sticking, which didn't surprise me. Now, I only took a little bit of footage because when I first got there, there was nobody. I was the first person there, but in a very short period of time, by the time it came to firing, people were just rocking up. So I only took a little bit of footage because I had the camera on the bench next to me, and I didn't want to take up that 2 benches for very long because, yeah, people rocked up and wanted that bench as well. Now, last time I mentioned that John the gunsmith had said, look, to aid in extraction, try and jerk the foregrip forward as much as you can, and then cycle. I'm sort of a bit sorry that I didn't film when I was doing that, because I was able to cycle it when I did that. Just jerk it. You can just move a little bit forward and then cycle it, and that works. So if after polishing, because he's going to polish the chamber, if after polishing that does something, he reckons it's not, because he reckons the last time he was at the shop he had a look with a bore scope at the chamber and it was pristine. I don't know, yeah, it's like chicken soup to a sick person. Couldn't hoy, you know, yeah, it couldn't make it worse. So anyway, I'll explain exactly what happened. I got there, I loaded up that Winchester Super X because I wanted to obviously try out a few different brands of ammo to see if it was just that ADI brass that was doing it, or that round that was doing it. Would appear that it's not the case. It's pretty much across the board. I don't know, because the other 2 brands I didn't even get to try. I only shot off 16 rounds, and I'll show you what happened. So because I had to take the scope off to figure out what was going on originally, I'd had the scope off and I gave it to the shop. Now, so I centered the scope, so that was at 25 metres. So it started off there, then No, it started off there, then there. Oh, it was actually like that. It started off there, and centered the scope there. Then, so I shot 5 rounds with that group there. That's with Winchester Super X. I've always hung shit on Winchester Super X saying that it's garbage. Yeah, well, this may prove me wrong. That's a 0.9 of an inch group at 100 metres, so it's well below 1 MOA. But the next group, which was only 4 rounds, is that. So it went from that to that, and I've gone, hang on a minute, there's something wrong there. The barrel hasn't heated up that much that it would just spread it out like a hose. So I've gone, sure enough, it was rocking. The scope was rocking on the base. The base was rocking. So I've taken the scope off, and then I've gone to tighten the screws, because he replaced one screw that was busted, the one at the back. That one was okay. And the 2 in the middle just kept spinning. And the one at the right at the front was loose, or a little bit loose, not much. So those 2 ones in the middle, I've tapped the firearm upside down. Sure enough, the heads of the screws popped off. So those 2 screws in the middle, they busted as well. The heads busted as well. So I only shot that 16 rounds. Obviously, I couldn't keep shooting it, because otherwise the pick rail would have just come off completely, because the other ones would have busted off probably too. So I've taken it back to the shop and I said, mate, this is what's going on. And he said, yep, fair enough. And he said, well, what I'll do is I'll replace obviously take out the 2 broken screws and replace them, and I'll replace the last Turkish screws that was left in it. Okay, I said, how about polishing the chamber, because you're going to have to take the top off it, and then you'll be able to get through with a polishing tool. He said, oh, look, I couldn't see anything wrong with the chamber last time, but I'll give it a tickle. Since I'm taking it apart anyway, I'll give it a tickle. So he reckons he's going to polish it. Whether that does anything or not, I don't know. But that jerking the forearm forward and then cycling it, that works. So essentially, so he's got the firearm, the gunsmith's got the firearm, so he's going to replace those screws, tighten the pick rail back down, and Loctite them. He looked at it and he said, I can't believe this thing's come loose again. And I said, yeah, well, 16 rounds. That didn't take long at all. So obviously he's going to work on it, and then I'll get it back again. Hey, what can you do? Anyway, he basically said, yeah, well, it's a Turkish gun. And I said, yeah, well, I've got 2 Turkish shotguns and I've never had a problem with them, except he did have to polish the chamber on one of them. He said, yeah. I said, yeah, but you're only talking about, 2, 3, a couple of firearms. He said, you don't see what I see. He said, the vast majority of them, have problems. So that's not very good advertising for Turkish firearms. I'm telling it like it is. I'm presenting the reality of the facts. I'm not embellishing or in any way, shape or form manipulating the facts or what has happened. What's happening is what's happening. So you're looking at what's happening exactly as it happens. So we'll wait and see when I get the gun back to see if that pick rail loose, snaps the good screws that it's installing off, because if that happens, then I don't know what the options are. Give him back the firearm and tell him that pick rail is a piece of shit, or whatever. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But something else I wanted to discuss was because before I purchased that gun, I was actually thinking about buying a SCSA Taipan. Well, now it's called the SCSA Taipan Light, which is a 223 or 5.56 caliber pump action, Australian-made pump action. So, but I didn't. because when they first came out, I thought I'll just wait to see a few reviews, and there was two Aussie guys that reviewed them, and they were not good reviews. Now, one of the reviews, apparently he got a firearm that was not meant to be even used by the public or even fired. It was specifically put together, apparently. So if you go on YouTube and search SCSA Taipan review, or just SCSA Taipan, I know you might see a video by SCSA themselves, and they specify that that firearm was supposed to go to a trigger manufacturer, and that trigger manufacturer was just going to design a trigger for the SCSA Taipan. He doesn't say what the company is, but I know which company it is. Just Google SCSA Taipan custom trigger. I think there's only one company that makes it, so you'll see who it is, but I'm not going to say it. Now, and then there's a guy called Simon Christie who has a YouTube channel called Full Drive TV. So I've never known him as a gun tuber. I always knew him just as a four-wheel drive YouTuber. But all of a sudden I've discovered that he's also a gun tuber, so he does gun reviews as well now. Now, his review of the Taipan was kind of, well, I'll just come out and say it. It lacks a bit of credibility, because he got his own personal SCSA Taipan with his four-wheel drive TV logo on the gun, etched on the gun. So he's obviously gotten, his own personal ones, and to my mind, if I was a company giving some, I'm assuming that he got given the gun. I don't know, but he would have more credibility if he said, I paid for this firearm retail. I don't think he did. I don't know. But if I was doing that review and I'd paid for the firearm, I would specify that I paid for this gun, or this was an off-the-shelf gun. It clearly wasn't. It was clearly. Now, my assumption is that it had any bugs that could have been in it, that had them all fixed. So him and another buddy of his was shooting it, and their review is stellar. Now, when I originally saw Simon Christie's video, because he talked about that, one gun tuber here in Australia who did who reckoned it was rubbish and really rubbished the firearm, and this is why, because it was never meant to be used as a shooting firearm. It was just like a test piece for a trigger. Well, there happens to be another gun tuber whose review is also, not good of it. Even though he likes the gun and he says, I like this gun, I like this rifle. But the issues that he's had with it, where it completely locking up, that didn't look good at all. And then, so that was his buddy's firearm, and then he subsequently bought another one, and so his buddy's firearm that had like 300 rounds through it, something like that, and they showed the internal of the top receiver, the amount of damage that was done in there by the cycling of the bolt, in particular the cam pin, what the cam pin was doing. So, look, I had no intention of buying a Taipan. And as far as Simon Christie is concerned, you only mentioned one guy who rubbished it. Well, guess what? There's another guy who had even worse, more issues with it, and shows you graphic damage that is inside the receiver. So I don't know if they've ironed out those problems. Taipan or SCSA reckons that they've solved all the issues and fixed all the problems and everything. I don't know. I've held one, I've cycled one, right? Just dry cycled one in a gun shop. They had a trial one at one of the gun shops like a couple of years ago or a year ago or so. But I'm not rushing out to buy one. So it's not just the Turkish guns that have issues, Australian guns have issues too. And to a degree, it seems like if you rubbish a Turkish firearm, yeah, big deal. But if you rubbish an Australian firearm, I think it's sort of close to the bone, and as if you're being unpatriotic or something. And one of the guys says, look, I want, actually both of those reviewers, and I'll tell you who they were Aussie Reviews and Fuck Outdoors, and both of them said, I want Aussie product to be good, and I want to see Aussie product getting sold more and more, and I wish it nothing but the best, but these are the facts, and they showed the problems that they had. So there you go. I've not shot a Taipan, so I can't tell you what kind of problems I would have had with it, but you can see Simon Christie's review, you can see Fuck Outdoors, FHUCK, and you can see Aussie Reviews, and make up your own decision. You know, make up your own mind. I'm not interested in influencing anyone in any way, shape or form. I want Australian manufacturers to do well, regardless of what it is, whether it's firearms or something else. But, you know, it is what it is, and the facts are what they are. So I'll just leave it at that for now. Until I get my gun back, I really, won't be able to tell how that's going. But when I do get it back, I'll have to obviously test fire it again. I don't know if I'll be able to do that soon, because pretty soon I'm going away to work again for quite a while again. So we'll have to wait and see. Until then, see you later.